Hello and welcome to Inside Sport once again. And like we promised, we are bringing you another cricketing superstar. This time from Chennai. S. Badrinath. When you talk of S. Badrinath, obviously synonymous with the one of the greatest T20 teams of all times. Chennai Super Kings, former India batter, an absolute genius on the field. He's still very fit. And before I get into cricket, I know Badri is very, very excited about another debut. He is obviously. I know we're not going to talk much about it because it's a thriller. It's one of the. It's touted to be one of the greatest ever hits in Indian cinema. Goat, Badri, your role. How excited were you? Obviously, we talk about your Test debut against South Africa many years back, but this is another phase with a bit of butterfly in the stomach.
Oh yeah, I think it's my debut. First of all, thanks for having me. And yeah, my debut into movies. Happy to be involved in one of the biggest movies ever to be made, probably in South India. That's what it was saying. So it's called the greatest of all time. Good. And I can't reveal much about it, but then I'm involved in a way where there's yes, the biggest superstar from the South, Vijay, is there in it. And of course, there is a bit of Mahendra Singh Dhoni in it as well. And then I'm also involved. So I can't ask for more than this. Once they told me this, I had to get involved. There is a bit of cricket connect in the climax scene. That's all I can reveal in the moment.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe you guys can check it out and then let me know the feedback on how I have done it.
Badri, I can tell you this one thing. Obviously, we'll give you feedback, and like you were such a composed character on the field, I'm sure you would have delivered a sterling performance even in a cameo. But I can tell you this: I'm sitting in Delhi, and there is a massive following for South Indian movies because of the action, because of the drama, because of the masala. We all love that. Obviously, we watch it in Hindi dubbing. We can't understand the language, but we understand the essence, and we're all Indians. We understand the essence, so it's going to be fantastic. We're looking forward to it. Really looking forward.
Yeah.
And now you've given me additional. Yeah.
Hope you guys have a good time and enjoy it. And yeah, it's my. I'm also excited actually. I felt a little bit of nervousness even before. Just like I felt before playing a big match in my playing days. So yesterday was the release of the movie. Rather Thursday was the release of the movie. So hopefully it goes well and hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be part of it.
I'm of course yet to see the movie, but hearing great things on the Blockbuster office already. I've been reading some reviews this morning, so fantastic. But talking of debut, you're used to very impressive debuts. We'll go back to many years ago, that debut against South Africa on a difficult pitch. You came in at a difficult time. Obviously, the result didn't go our way, but you scored a gutsy 56. And everybody, I remember, were also my early days in journalism. And everybody was talking about Badri. What a fantastic talent. And you were up against Morning Mockle and Wayne Parnell, Paul Adams. It was a terrific bowling lineup. I mean, you look at the current South African lineup, still scary, but that was something else. What was the feeling like?
Yeah, actually, I was very nervous, to be honest, going into bat. And like you mentioned, the critical situation, 3 wickets down. And one of the best fast bowling attacks of that era, probably Morning Mockle and Dale Steyn. They were in their peak, and I was going to face Dale Steyn. And I remember, as life would have it, and ironically, my idol, the person who was my idol from a young age, Sachin Tendulkar, he got out to a beauty from Dale Steyn, and I was walking in, and I had to pass it. It was crazy when I was passing him. I was like, oh my God, Sachin can't play this bowler, and I am going to play, and I have to play. I was like, it was kind of a mixed feeling. But then going to bat, I think everything came its own, and I started thinking, okay, Badri, come on, you're there, you made it. Standing in the middle, right out there, Dale Steyn was standing there, and the thoughts that were going into my mind were, Badri, you just made it, man. You're a test player now. Come on, just go and play. So that helped. This kind of a positive thinking, I think, really helped. And I think batting with Sehwag was brilliant. I think he was one of the best persons to come around. He said, I played a first shot. I went through. There was nobody in front of the wicket. To be honest, that much confidence Steyn had in me. So he was like, everybody was behind. There were about quite a few slips and all that. So I just tapped it just for a couple. And then Sehwag ran up to me and said that, Badri, officially you're a test cricketer, just enjoy, and he went off. I think that opened up my, suddenly my shoulders started relaxing. I started feeling cool, and then I got a half century, and it was a good feeling.
But how was it batting with Sehwag? Because a lot of stars have said, it's difficult sitting with him in the dressing room because he would keep commenting on, oh, how that should have been a four. Ye chauka hona chahiye, ye chakka hona chahiye tha. Is he calm on the field, or does he keep singing songs? Like Saurav Ganguly once said, he sings songs while facing to the bowlers.
Oh, I think Sehwag is one of the best partners to play with, because for me, he's exactly the opposite, because I'm the kind who always is a little bit tight. I'm always hyped. I want to do well. I'm kind of expecting a lot out of myself. And Sehwag, on the other hand, is totally detached. He bats like he doesn't care. But I'm sure he cares less, but he's not careless. He cares less, but he is not careless. I think it's a fine line, and that's what Sehwag is. I think that's the perfect balance to be, for a sportsman. And I absolutely enjoy batting with him. And for me, another way, he's not a good partner, because when I was on 20, he was on 120. By the time I got to a half century, he had already got out, after a brilliant knock. So that's what Sehwag was. He lives in a different speed, a different realm. He's a great batting partner. I love playing with him.
But do you remember every single shot you played or runs? Because I've spoken to a lot of cricketers who've done well on their debuts, and they said it was a blur. We just remembered the day after. Do you remember that knock vividly still?
Yes, I remember most of the shots. I remember this first runs. Definitely the first run I remember, and a few of the boundaries I remember. I remember a few of the spells that I played against Moni Mogul when the ball was reversing, and my innings from 30 to 45, I really remember, because I was like, oh my God, I'm getting close to my first half century. Oh, this is really happening. It's kind of a dream coming true, and it kind of, sometimes you obviously feel like, can I pinch myself? Because it has come so many times in your dream already, because this innings has already come so many times in your dream. Like sometimes when it happens, you feel like whether this is actually a dream, am I going to wake up or I'm not going to be there? Sometimes you get that sort of a feeling. I mean, it's crazy.
And since you talked to Sehwag, and there was this very interesting take you shared some years back on how the Chennai Super Kings actually wanted to sign Virendra Sehwag ahead of the 2008 IPL inaugural edition. And because Sehwag was a Delhi boy, he wanted to play for the Delhi team at that point. And then came MS Dhoni, and obviously the rest is history. Tell us a little about
that. Allegedly, this happened, but I think Mr. V.B. Chandrasekhar. He was the one who was instrumental in forming the Chennai Super Kings team. I think I'm grateful to him. He is the one who signed me. He was the one who opted for Mahendra Singh Dhoni. But apparently, even much before that, the CSK management wanted Virendra Sehwag. And this was told to me by Sehwag. I think Sehwag said that, I came to Chennai. I came and met Mr. N. Srinivasan, and but then Sehwag said that he wanted to play for Delhi, because he believed that he was from Delhi and he wanted to be part of a Delhi team. This was much before CSK became a brand, became one of the most successful franchises ever, and all that. This much before the IPL ever came into existence. So obviously Sehwag had the connect with Delhi and he wanted to play for Delhi. And then the next option the CSK looked for is what you see before you. I think the GOAT himself, Mahendra Singh Dhoni. I think what they thought about, if not Sehwag, then we are going to go for a player who fixes many things for us. He's going to fix the captain for us. He's going to fix the wicket-keeping option for us. He's going to fix the, one of the best finishers ever for us. So I think there was none better than that. So I don't know whether it's a hit or a miss. I think it was probably, you could call it whatever you want. But then the rest is history.
The rest is history. And then there were so many of you stars. You were at your peak. There was Raina, who was just, again, like you, Mr. CSK, obviously MS leading from the front, Matthew Hayden at the top. It was a glorious team to be part of, I'm sure. But tell us few anecdotes from MS Dhoni, because, a lot of players have shared different things. And we look at him from the outside, and he's captain cool. And we've heard he never really addressed the dressing room in tactical meetings. What was it like planning with MS Dhoni? Because he's such a cool strategist. What were strategies like with him?
You wouldn't believe it. Many people have asked me over the years, what would MS Dhoni say to you? What would he talk to you? What would he, but absolutely nothing. That's what it is. He's a man of few words. He doesn't talk anything. That's the I think the biggest strength of Mahendra Singh Dhoni, I think he just lets you be. He lets Badrinath be, let Badrinath play his game. Where I can use Badrinath, I know. He knows me, he knows my game. He will not try to change me, but he will try to use me where he can use me. I think that is what the greatest strength of Mahendra Singh Dhoni is. He will not try to change you. If a bowler is not able to execute the Yorker, he will not say that go and practice the Yorker, you have to execute the Yorker. If you can't bowl the Yorker, you can only bowl length. Okay, I will use you probably in the early overs. I won't use you the death overs. He will not try to change the bowler or the DNA of a player. I think that is what is the biggest strength. If a player doesn't fit in the scheme of things for Mahendra Singh Dhoni, he will probably not play. It was very simple. It was very simple calculation. He never tries to change. I mean, he has accepted himself. MS has told me, I know much before all this, when we were playing for Kemplas in a Manadula tournament, MS was meant to go opening. And he was like, मैं कहाँ यार, मैं कहाँ opening कहाँ यार, blue ball में मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगता खेलने का, मैं lower order में अच्छा खेलता हूँ. He was talking things like that. I remember this conversation between me, MS Dhoni, and JP Yadav long back when we played Moinudullah tournament in for Kemplas. So that is what MS is. That's what he believes in. He doesn't try to change the player. He lets them be, and he will try to use the player where he can.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that is why so many of you are so respect him so much, because what we see from the outside is obviously only half the story. But did he ever lose his cool? I mean, there have been talks of how some spinners have said, Mahi Bhai could also get a little angry. He was not always captain cool. Did you ever see that happening? And were the players always a little careful? Okay, now abhi nahi jana Dhoni Bhai ke paas.
Come on, he's also human. So yeah, he has lost his cool, but never on the field. Only inside the dressing room. I think he would never let the opposition or the crowd or anybody know that he has lost his cool. If at all he loses his cool, it will happen only inside the dressing room. I remember this one match against RCB. We played in Chennai. RCB got out to a very meager score. They got out to some 110 or something. I think we CSK were trying to chase it, but we lost wickets in a hurry. We ended up losing the match. It was one of those matches where we couldn't get 110 against RCB in Chepauk. So I remember I got out to a bad shot. I played this lap shot to Anil Kumble. Anil Kumble was playing for RCB. I tried to play this lap shot to Anil Kumble and got myself LW. So he was coming inside the dressing room and I was standing right there. There was a small water bottle in front of me and MS just kicked it. And kicked the water bottle just right out of the park. And I was like, shit, oh my God, MS is not good. Nobody wants to see. Then we were all like trying to avoid eye contact with MS in that dressing room. All of us, we were just trying to stay away from, steer clear of MS Dhoni. That's all. He didn't speak anything. There was no team meeting. There was nothing. He just that's what I think. Non-verbal communication is the most powerful form of communication, as you know it. I think that was the non-verbal communication that what the hell did you guys play? That's all. That's all he meant by kicking the bottle. I think. MS. So that was one of those moments.
Yeah, and when MS Dhoni does that as a player, obviously you'd be scared, right? The boss not obviously very happy. But what is it about the Super Kings, including yourself? When suppose Raina came in at number 3, or you would come in lower down there, or as a floater, like you said, obviously you played so many sterling knocks. There was Hayden. There was this very gladiatorial approach because you saw the men in yellow, and back then I used to support Kolkata Knight Riders, and you were like, oh gosh. Not these guys again. You get Matthew Hayden, there is Parthiv Patel at the other, then there is Raina, then there is Badrinath, then there is MS Dhoni himself, then Bravo somewhere pops up. How do you beat this team? What was the attitude like inside? Do you feel gladiatorial? I mean, invincible? Did you feel that in your veins and your body?
Oh, yes. I think the first 6 years of CSK, when I was there in CSK for the first 6 years, it was a phenomenal team. I think it was a phenomenal team. I think it was one of probably the best teams that could have ever existed. Like you said, there was Matthew Hayden, Murli Vijay, Michael Hussey, Suresh Raina, myself, followed by Dhoni, by Alvin Mokel, by Dwayne Bravo. You wouldn't want any other team other than this. It was just a phenomenal. So I think our attitude and approach to this game was fearless. We were just fearless. When we go out there, it doesn't matter who the opposition is. If not Hayden, it was Hussey. If not Hussey and Hayden, it will be Raina.
Yeah.
If not these two, it will be Badri. If not Badri, it will be MS. Somebody will put up their hand on that day and will deliver the goods for CSK. So I remember this 2011 season when CSK were back-to-back champions. We won in 2010 and 2011. I remember the feeling getting on the field, especially when we went in Chepauk. It was called the Den for a reason. I think we were invincible. When we entered the field, we knew that we were going to win the match. Nobody can beat us here. And it was the old stadium. It was hot and humid, and the oppositions when they entered it was really the Den. I think the opponents were just cooked. I think we were a fitter team, we were a better team, so we could handle the heat and the humidity and much better. And the crowd get behind us. Opposition, I think they didn't stand a chance. So we won all our games in 2011. We went on to win the champion. We just breezed through the season. I think we were just invincible in that 2011 season. Ashwin was at his lethal best. He was unplayable in Chennai. So yeah, that season was, I think, one of the seasons where CSK just dominated from start to finish.
And even when we look back at it now, it's like one of the most dominant performances by any team in T20 cricket. And we still watch highlights, even though you were fearless and the other teams feared you. That was a phenomenal run. But now MS Dhoni stepped down as captain. Now there is always this emotional rigmarole. Will Dhoni continue? Will he continue? Will it be another last season? How do you see it? And what of CSK after Dhoni?
See, that is $1 million question, and I don't think anybody can answer it. And I don't think even the CSK management can answer it. That's the truth, because whether MS is going to play more or not, it is purely his personal decision. I think none of us have, any right or anything to say, anything to comment over it, because it is. We have to give the complete liberty to MS Dhoni whether he feels like he wants to play. If he wants to play, I think he will surely play. I think CSK management will be willing for him to play, but then it's ball rests in, I think, purely in MS's court. I think his body as well. I think his body has taken quite a bit of toll over the years. Last year when I went and met him, his knee was swollen, quite a bit, and he was like literally getting through the season. I think his back is definitely not 100%. We all know that. Over the years, when you take so much of pressure over the years, your body tends to take its toll. So I think we will have to wait and see what he's going to do. But the CSK management will definitely wishing for him to play. I have just one perspective on this. Just that if MS is to play, if he is playing, until he is playing, I think he should leave. That's my opinion on it. Because I feel that whoever you put as a captain on the field, when MS is there, it's impossible to see anybody else as captain, because he's just, nobody can be MS, is what I feel. So I think my suggestion, of course, if it's for the two cents that is worth, is that if he plays, I think I want to believe. So because I don't think you can be on the field and still groom a captain. I don't know whether it will work or not. It might or it might not. But so as long as MS is playing, I would like him to lead.
Good to see us an expert say that as well, because I only thought of that as a fan, that you want to see MS Dhoni on the field, you want to see him as captain, and that is what works for. But talking of Rituraj and with Rinku Singh and Rituraj, when they were when they were overlooked for the tour of Sri Lanka, and you said something which became a bit of a controversy later, but I can understand where you were coming from. That there's this bad boy image that you're only looking at players with tattoos and maybe earrings, because you obviously, that was an interview in Tamil, if I remember right, and there was a lot of sections of the media which reported on that aggressively. What's your take? And do you want to again go back to what you actually meant by that?
Yeah, I just felt that it was a little bit unfair. Firstly, I come to Rinku Singh. I think because for no fault of his, he was dropped from the team. Is what I felt, because whatever the opportunities he got when he was playing for the country, he did really well. And in between, whatever the tournaments happened in IPL, he was in phenomenal form. So I think he deserved a chance to be there. I think it is little bit coming from a relativity factor as well, because I've been in these kind of shoes, because for no fault of mine, I have sometimes been dropped from the Indian team. So I think that is what there was a little bit of an emotional connect here somewhere. So I felt that Rinku Singh should have, because everybody wants to be part of a World Cup. And suddenly a player takes your place who has done well only recently or had one good tournament or probably is a one-dimensional cricketer, suddenly takes your place. I think it's little bit unfair. Is honestly my opinion. I wanted to express it, but obviously I think maybe the team management had something in place. This always happens. That okay, we want this type of player. This is what we need. This is what is the place there for in the team, and a player for no fault of his gets left out. That was happening to Rutraj as well. He's been phenomenal form. What more can he do? He is ticking all the boxes. He's doing everything right. I'm not saying just because he's at CSK or anybody else. I'm just saying Ruturaj. I'm just saying Ruturaj as a cricketer, as a batsman. So he's ticked all the boxes. So I probably think that he's somewhere down the line. It is fair to give these guys an opportunity. So that's what I felt. I had a little bit of an emotional connect. A little bit of emotion was in the picture. I'm being honest because I had that connect with these guys.
No, and obviously, you've been a thorough gentleman, and that's why we love watching. At least my generation did. When there was Rahul Dravid before that, Anil Kumble. You spoke of R. Ashwin. There is something about you boys from the south. Very well behaved and always so eager to do well on the field, but played the game like a gentleman, like gentlemen as well. But also, before I let you go, we cannot but ignore the Bangladesh series coming up. Bangladesh whipped Pakistan. We all love watching Pakistan getting whipped in India, but that's no secret. But it was an embarrassment for Pakistan, one. And two, how do you see Bangladesh coming to India? Will there be a challenge and word on Virat Kohli's form? And since you've yourself been such a stellar player against spin, how do you see his weakness against spin, especially left arm?
See, I wouldn't call it a weakness. I will call it a little bit of a rustiness. Because see, having played through the domestic as well as international as well as IPL, I've realized that when you're constantly in the top level cricket, when you're playing top level cricket, sometimes you tend to face fast bowlers a lot. You don't get to face spinners quite a bit. So that is what is happening to Virat. When we started together in 2008, we played a lot of India cricket together. We made our debuts in the first same ODI series. Virat was a phenomenal player of spin. He started off as a phenomenal player of spin. So that ability is there. It's within him. It has not gone anywhere. A talent which is there in you, it won't go anywhere. I think it is just that when you're playing so much of international cricket over the years, you tend to not face spinners. So you have to just little bit, refresh your memory. Playing against spin. So that is what is happening to Virat. And yes, Bangladesh, we all know that they are one of the best spin attacks. Every third person in every street has a left arm spinner in Bangladesh. So they will definitely come with left arm spinners into this India series. So that's where I thought that probably it would have been good for Virat to play one of the Duleep Trophy matches that is happening. So I think how much ever you practice in the nets, it might be one match or two matches equal to 100 net sessions is what I feel. I think what you can learn in these, so probably I would have loved to see, as purely as a cricket expert, I'm not advising or asking him to do anything, but as a cricket expert, I thought that probably one match, if he had played the Duleep Trophy, will help him play against the spinners, just to get into the group, just to refresh your memory about what it is to play in India against the spinners. But he's a great player. I think he will come up with the goods. Big test season coming up for India, and I still believe Virat is the #1 test batsman. So India needs to do well in test cricket, in WTC and all that. I think Virat is going to be the key.
Absolutely, he will be. And before we let you go, Badri, because you're here, because you're such a special cricketer, you will have obviously, like us, you will have some emotions attached to India going to Australia. Obviously, they're traveling later this year. We've been dominating Australia for the last decade. Forget the WTC final; that was a one-off. But how do you read that? Do you see Bangladesh as a stepping stone for Virat Kohli? Obviously, it was, and I'm also sorry to I'm apologizing to my viewers when I said weakness. It was a wrong choice of words. Obviously, Virat Kohli doesn't have weakness against spin, like Badri rightly pointed out. But BGT, Bangladesh, a stepping stone.
Yes, I think it will be a good predecessor to the big series, Australia. But having said that, Bangladesh also can't be taken lightly. I think Australia will be a really good series. I get the feeling that this series, the Australia series, will go down. Every match will go down to the fifth day. That's what I want to see. As purely as a cricket lover, cricket lover, I want the matches to go into fifth day. I've seen enough test matches getting over in second day and third day. Come on, I don't want this test match, 5-day test match. It needs to go down to the lunch, the tea session on the fifth day. That's all I want to see. Let the best side win. It needs to be hard fought. That's what it is all about. When you play a 4-day or 5-day match and you've given it your all and you're exhausted and you're sitting there, and the spent feeling that you have as a cricketer is something else. If you win it, even more sweeter, obviously. But then that's what I want to see. I want to see some quality, high quality test cricket between two good sides. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to the series. I'm going to be involved in commentary as well with the India-Australia series. So I'm personally looking forward to it.
Yeah, and what you just heard Badri express and describe is it can only be done by a cricketer who's played test cricket, and that is the emotion, that is the raw emotion. Most of us cannot understand that. Only a few hundred for India have done that, and they will be able to relish and cherish that. But Badri, you are a GOAT, an absolute CSK GOAT, one of the golden era boys, and obviously the IPL is here to stay. Fantastic tournament, but you will always be regarded as an absolute stellar player and a thorough gentleman. Thank you so much for doing this with us. It's been absolutely entertaining, and all the best for your film debut.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thanks, Badri.